The forbidden serum. The night was silent inside the research station. Cold blue lights glowed on the walls, making the place feel more like a tomb than a lab. Rows of glass chambers stood in the darkness, filled with broken machines and strange liquids. Outside, the wind howled across the barren colony world. Somewhere in the distance, alien screams echoed, sharp and inhuman, reminding everyone that time was running out. In the center of the room, a soldier stood frozen. His name was Captain Ryan Voss. His uniform was torn, his face covered with dust and blood. He had seen war before, but nothing like this. The aliens were not just strong, they were hunters. They could smell fear, track heat, and tear men apart in seconds. On the table before him rested a small vial. It glowed faint green, like liquid fire trapped in glass. The light pulsed slowly, almost alive. Across from him, a woman's voice broke the silence. "Ryan, don't." The speaker was Dr. Elira Cade, chief scientist of the station. Her hands were shaking, but her eyes stayed locked on him. She looked more afraid of him than of the aliens outside. "You don't know what this serum will do," she whispered. "We tested it only on animals. Every single one lost itself, their bodies changed, their mind gone." Ryan did not move. His eyes stayed on the vial. The sound of alien claws scraping against the outer walls reached the lab. The screams of soldiers came through the comms, short, desperate, then silent. "We don't have a choice," Ryan said, his voice low and rough. "If I don't take it, we all die." Elira stepped forward, almost pleading. "Listen to me, this isn't a strength booster, this isn't a drug. It was never meant for humans. It rewrites DNA, it breaks the line between man and beast. If you take this, you may never be human again." For a moment he turned his head and looked at her. His eyes were tired but steady. "Better a monster than dead," he said. Her face tightened, anger and sorrow mixing together. "No. Better dead than losing your soul." The word struck him, but outside the wall shook again. Dust rained from the ceiling. A massive roar made the entire lab tremble. Something large was pounding on the station doors. Time was over. Ryan closed his fist around the vial. It felt cold, but also alive, like it was calling him. His heartbeat grew louder in his ears. What if she was right? A voice inside whispered, "What if you become the very thing you are trying to fight?" But then another voice answered, colder, "And what if you don't? And they slaughter everyone while you stand helpless." He pulled the cork from the vial. The liquid shimmered, glowing brighter. Elira's voice cracked. "Ryan, stop. You think you'll save us, but you'll only become worse than them." Her hand reached out as if to grab him, but he stepped back. His decision was already made. He raised the vial to his lips. For one last moment he hesitated. He thought of his men. He thought of the children hiding in the colony's shelters. He thought of the thousands who would die screaming if the aliens broke through. Then he drank. The serum burned his throat like acid. He dropped the vial, glass shattering on the floor. His body convulsed, muscles locking in pain. He fell to his knees, hands clawing at the ground. Elira screamed. "Ryan!" His skin rippled as if something crawled under it. Veins glowed faint green, spreading through his arms, chest, and neck. His teeth clenched so hard blood ran from his gums. Bones cracked, shifting. His fingers curled into claws, nails sharpening. His senses exploded. He could hear the aliens outside like they were whispering in his ear. He could smell their blood, their hunger, their fear. But worst of all, he could feel his own fear slipping away. Pain turned into hunger. Hunger turned into power. A dark thrill filled his chest. For the first time, he did not feel like prey. He felt like the hunter. Elira stepped back, her eyes wide in horror. "Oh God, what have you done?" Ryan raised his head slowly. His eyes glowed faint green, like the vial. His lips curled, showing teeth that looked too sharp to be human. The pounding on the walls grew louder. The aliens were almost inside. But Ryan no longer flinched at the sound. Instead, his mouth twisted into a smile. He rose to his feet, taller, stronger, his body pulsing with unnatural energy. "I'll stop them," he said. His voice was deeper, almost echoing. Elira whispered, "You're not Ryan anymore." He turned toward the steel doors, shaking under alien blows. "Maybe not," he said, "but I'm exactly what they need to fear." The doors split open with a thunderous crash. Shadows moved in the smoke. Alien roars filled the lab. Soldiers would have run. Humans would have screamed. But Ryan did not. He stepped forward into the dark, claws ready, eyes glowing, and the hunter inside him smiled. The transformation. The steel doors ripped apart with a scream of metal, and shadows poured into the lab. Alien hunters, tall and twisted, their bodies armored with black scales, eyes glowing like hot coals. Their mouths opened wide, rows of teeth dripping with poison. They had smelled weakness. They had come for the kill. But this time, the weakness was gone. Captain Ryan Voss stepped forward, no longer the man his comrades remembered. The serum had changed him. His body stretched taller, muscles like steel cables pressing against his torn uniform. His veins still pulsed with green fire, and his eyes glowed in the darkness like those of a predator. The first alien lunged at him, claws swinging down. Any other human would have been split in half. But Ryan moved faster than thought. His hand shot up, catching the claw in midair. Bones cracked as he crushed the alien's wrist. With a roar that shook the lab, he hurled the creature across the room, smashing it into a steel wall. The others froze for a heartbeat. They had hunted humans for years, but this was something new. Ryan's senses blazed alive. He could hear the aliens' hearts pounding. He could taste the chemical burn of their blood in the air. He could smell their fear. It called to something deep inside him, something wild. A second alien charged, mouth wide. Ryan did not dodge. Instead, he leapt forward faster than bullets and slammed into the beast. His claws that once had been his fingers, sank into its throat. He ripped it open with terrifying ease. Blood sprayed across the lab floor. The alien fell twitching, dead before it hit the ground. Dr. Elira Cade staggered back, horror on her face. This was not the man she had known. His movements were too fast, too sharp, too savage. He wasn't fighting like a soldier anymore. He was hunting, like the creatures he had sworn to kill. Ryan's breath came heavy, not with exhaustion, but with hunger. His mouth watered as he stared at the blood on his claws. For one terrible moment, he almost brought them to his lips. He stopped himself, trembling, and looked at Elira. I can stop this," he growled, though his voice no longer sounded like his own. It was deeper, harsher, something inhuman. Elira's voice shook. "No, you can't. Look at yourself, Ryan. You're not fighting them. You're becoming them." But there was no time to argue. More aliens flooded through the broken doors. The air filled with their hissing. Ryan turned toward them, and the beast inside him smiled. He dashed into the horde with a speed no human should have. His claws slashed. Through black scales, his fists shattered bones. Each strike was brutal, precise, final. The aliens roared in rage, but one by one they fell. Yet the more he fought, the less he thought. Instinct took over. His mind blurred. Every sound, every movement was prey. His vision sharpened until he saw only the weak points of his enemies, their throats, their hearts, their skulls waiting to be crushed. When the last alien dropped to the ground, silence returned to the lab. Ryan stood among the bodies, chest rising and falling, his hands dripping with dark blood. His claws slowly shrank back into fingers, but the green fire still burned in his veins. Elira pressed herself against the wall, staring at him as if he were one of the monsters. "You saved us," she whispered. "But at what cost?" He turned. To her, his glowing eyes fading a little, but not enough. He opened his mouth to answer, but stopped. His throat ached with a strange hunger. His heart raced not from fear or battle, but from desire to hunt again. The truth struck him like a blade. He wanted more, and that terrified him. Ryan stumbled back, shaking his head. No, I'm still me. I'm still human. Elira stepped closer, tears in her eyes. You're changing. I warned you. The serum doesn't just make you stronger. It makes you something else. Every second it stays inside you, you lose more of yourself. He clenched his fists, forcing the claws to retreat, forcing his breath to slow. He wanted to believe her. Wrong. He wanted to believe he was still the same man who had sworn to protect his people. But deep inside, he felt the truth. The serum was not done. It was only beginning. Outside, distant echoes of alien roars rolled across the colony. The battle was not over, and Ryan knew he was no longer fighting only the enemy outside. He was fighting the beast growing inside his own skin. He looked at Elira, his voice almost breaking. If I lose myself, promise me you'll stop me. She stared at him horrified. How can I stop something like you? Ryan didn't answer. He turned toward the shattered doors, stepping into the blood-soaked hallway, leaving a trail of glowing footprints. For the first time in his life, he was no longer sure if he was walking as a man or stalking as a predator. The first hunt. The colony streets lay in ruin. Fires burned in the distance, black smoke rising into the alien sky. Broken vehicles, shattered glass, and the bodies of fallen soldiers marked the path of destruction. The night was alive with alien cries, sharp and merciless, echoing through the steel corridors of the outpost. Captain Ryan Voss moved silently among the shadows, his body still humming with the serum's strange power. His senses had changed beyond recognition. Every sound was sharp. He could hear the buzz of power lines, the heartbeat of hidden survivors, even the faint scurrying of rats under the rubble. Every smell was vivid, the acrid smoke, the iron tang of spilled blood, and the raw, pungent scent of the aliens that stalked the colony. But what shocked him most was not what he sensed, it was what he felt. For the first time, he was not afraid. He was hungry. Elira followed at a distance, her boots crunching softly on broken stone. She kept her eyes on him, as if afraid to blink. The man she had known was still there, but wrapped, now in something wild and dangerous. She whispered to herself, barely audible. He isn't hunting them. He's enjoying this. Suddenly, Ryan froze. His head tilted slightly, nostrils flaring. They're close, he muttered, voice low and rough. Who? Elira asked. He didn't answer. His glowing eyes narrowed, and then he was gone, leaping into the darkness with speed too fast for her eyes to follow. Above, 3 alien hunters crawled along the rooftops, their long arms gripping steel beams like spiders. They moved silently, their jaws opening and closing in anticipation. They had smelled prey, the last survivors hiding in a bunker nearby. But Ryan had smelled them first. He landed on the rooftop without a sound. The aliens froze, hissing low, surprised to see prey where none should be. But Ryan was no prey. He crouched low, claws sliding from his fingertips, teeth bared in a grin that was almost feral. The aliens lunged. Ryan moved like lightning. His hand shot forward, catching the first creature by the throat. With a single brutal twist, he snapped its neck and hurled the corpse down into the street below. The second slashed at him, claws cutting the air. Ryan ducked under the strike and slammed his fist into its chest. The alien's ribs shattered like glass. He drove it into the rooftop, then crushed its skull beneath his heel. The third hissed in rage, circling him. But before it could leap, Ryan was already behind it. His claws sank deep into its spine, pulling it apart with terrifying strength. Blood sprayed across the steel rooftop. Ryan stood in the middle of the carnage, chest heaving, his glowing eyes blazing. He had killed them all in seconds. Elira climbed up from below, arriving just as the last body hit the ground. Her face went pale at the sight. Ryan, you're not fighting like a soldier. You're tearing them apart like an animal. He looked at her, blood dripping from his claws. For a moment, no words came. His chest rose and fell with each heavy breath, but there was no fear, no regret. Only satisfaction. It felt easy, he admitted, his voice rough. Too easy. She shook her head, fear creeping into her eyes. You're losing control. You don't see it, but I do. The serum is pushing you. It's not just giving you strength. It's changing your nature. Ryan turned away, staring at the burning streets. He wanted to argue, but deep inside he knew she was right. He hadn't just killed those aliens, he had enjoyed it. For every slash, every bone broken, a thrill had raced through him. The serum had awakened something he could not deny. In the distance, more screams echoed. Human screams. Survivors were being dragged from the ruins. Ryan's head snapped toward the sound. His glowing eyes sharpened, and he whispered almost to himself, "They're mine." Before Elira could speak, he leapt from the rooftop, vanishing into the smoke-filled streets. The aliens had cornered a group of civilians near a collapsed tower. Mothers shielded their children. Men tried to fight with scraps of metal, but the hunters circled them like wolves. Their jaws opened, hissing in cruel delight. Then the predator arrived. Ryan slammed into the first alien like a thunderbolt, claws ripping through armor and bone. He didn't stop. He tore into the second, then the third, moving faster than the eye could follow. Screams turned to silence as bodies fell one after another. The survivors watched in shock, too stunned to run. To them, the monster in front of them was no savior. It was another nightmare, wearing the face of a man. When the last alien collapsed, Ryan stood tall, chest heaving, covered in blood that wasn't his own. He turned to the survivors, his glowing eyes blazing through the smoke. A child whimpered. A woman pulled her son back, whispering, "Stay away from him." Ryan froze. He wanted to tell them he was human, that he was there to protect them. But the words caught in his throat. The way they looked at him, it wasn't with gratitude. It was with fear. Elira arrived seconds later, rushing to the survivors. They clung to her presence, backing away from Ryan as if he might attack them, too. He looked down at his hands, at the claws dripping with blood. His stomach twisted. For a moment he wasn't sure if the blood on them belonged to the aliens, or if it was only a matter of time before it belonged to humans too. In the silence, his heart whispered the truth he didn't want to hear. The serum hadn't just given him the power to hunt, it had made him crave it. The fear of his own kind. The colony should have been grateful. The aliens were dead, and survivors lived because of him. But the looks on their faces told another story. Fear, suspicion, silence, heavy as stone. Captain Ryan Voss stood among the corpses, breathing hard. His claws retracted slowly, melting, back into human fingers, though his hands still shook with the thrill of the hunt. The survivors gathered together, whispering, their eyes never leaving him. Mothers pulled children behind them. Men tightened their grips on makeshift weapons, not pointing them at the aliens, but at him. Dr. Elira Cade stepped between them and Ryan, her arms raised. "He saved your lives. Without him, you'd all be dead." No one spoke, but the fear, in their eyes, was answer enough. Ryan looked down at his blood-stained uniform, his glowing eyes reflected in broken glass. His chest tightened. He had fought for them, bled for them, and now they stared at him as if he were one of the monsters. Finally, an older man spoke, his voice shaking. "That thing is no soldier. Look at him. Look at his eyes. He's not human anymore." Ryan's jaw clenched. The words struck harder than any alien's claws. He wanted to argue, to shout that he was still one of them. But deep inside, the serum's hunger stirred, and he could not deny it. Elira shot back, her voice fierce. "He is human. He's fighting for you while you cower in fear." But the man spat on the ground. "Maybe today, but what about tomorrow? What happens when that hunger turns on us?" The crowd murmured, nodding, stepping farther back from Ryan. Children whimpered, clutching their mothers. Ryan felt something break. Inside, he had risked everything, his humanity, his soul, to protect them. And yet the people he fought for now looked at him like a nightmare. He turned away, his voice low, almost a growl. Let them think what they want. I don't need their trust. Illyra reached out to him, her hand brushing his arm. You do, she whispered, because without it, you're already lost. Before he could answer, a sharp sound echoed from the streets outside, the distant roar of another alien patrol. The survivors gasped, clinging to each other in fear. Ryan's head snapped toward the sound. His nostrils flared, catching the scent. His muscles tensed, ready to hunt. Illyra saw the look in his eyes and stepped in front of him quickly. Wait, don't. He blinked at her, confused. Why? Because you're not hearing yourself. You don't talk like a man anymore. You talk like a predator. Her voice softened. You're scaring them, Ryan. And you're scaring me. The words stabbed deeper than he expected. He looked at her face, pale but steady, her eyes full of truth. For the first time he saw what he was becoming, not in blood or broken bones, but in the reflection of someone he cared about. I can still control it, he whispered, though his voice trembled. Illyra shook her head. Control isn't enough. The serum isn't just inside your body, it's inside your mind. Every time you fight, every time you give in, it takes more. The roars outside grew louder. The aliens were drawing closer. The survivors turned their eyes toward Ryan, torn between fear of him and fear of the creatures that stalked them. They whispered again, voices sharp with desperation. He'll lead them here. He's one of them now. We can't stay with him. Ryan felt their words burn in his chest. Once they had looked to him as a captain, a leader, a protector. Now they looked at him as the enemy. He stepped back, away from the group, his glowing eyes lowering. Then I'll go, he said, voice heavy. I'll draw them away from you. The older man shouted, Good, take the beast far from us. Illyra turned sharply on the man, fury flashing in her eyes. Without him, you wouldn't even be alive to insult him. But Ryan only raised a hand. Let it go. They're right. His gaze swept across the frightened faces. Not one looked at him with trust. Not one looked at him as human. He turned to Illyra. Stay with them, keep them safe. I'll deal with the aliens. Her hand gripped his wrist desperately. Ryan, you're not alone in this. Don't let them push you away. His eyes softened. Just for her. They don't need me as a man. They only need me as a weapon. Before she could speak again, he leapt into the night, vanishing into the burning streets. Outside, the air was thick with smoke and ash. Ryan crouched on a rooftop, scanning the darkness. His heart pounded, not with fear but with the thrill of the hunt. He could sense them coming. Every step of their clawed feet echoed in his ears. Every breath of their twisted lungs tasted sharp on his tongue. He clenched his fists, claws sliding, free once more. The serum whispered inside him, calling louder than before. You are not their protector. You are not their leader. You are the predator. Hunt. Ryan closed his eyes, struggling to hold on to his humanity. He thought of his men, of the people he had sworn to protect. He thought of Illyra, her voice still ringing in his ears. But when he opened his eyes again, they glowed brighter than ever. And in the silence of the ruined colony, Ryan Voss smiled like a hunter, waiting for prey. The alien secret, the ruins of the colony were silent after the hunt. Smoke curled from broken towers, drifting like ghosts across the empty streets. Captain Ryan Voss stood over a pile of alien corpses, chest heaving, claws dripping with dark blood. His breath came steady now, almost calm, but inside him the beast purred with satisfaction. Every kill fed the hunger. Every scream silenced. Every heart stopped. It all left him craving more. But tonight something different stirred within him, something strange. He had spared one. Pinned under his boot, an alien hunter writhed, its armored chest rising and falling with shallow breaths. It hissed in pain, one arm broken, its jaw cracked. Its glowing eyes still burned with hatred, but there was something else too. Recognition. Ryan's claws pressed against its throat, ready to end it. But something in its gaze made him pause. You should fear me, Ryan growled. His voice no longer sounded human. It rumbled like thunder. The alien's jaw twitched, blood bubbling from its mouth. Then to Ryan's shock, it spoke. Broken words, guttural but clear. Fear, you? No. You are us. Ryan froze. The world around him seemed to go silent. His claws tightened, but not enough to kill. What did you say? The alien coughed. Blood spilling onto the street. The serum, not human. Ours. You drink it. You become. The words echoed in his head like poison. The serum. The very thing that had saved him. The very thing that was destroying him. It wasn't a human creation. It wasn't Elira's invention. It was theirs. His pulse thundered. Lies, he hissed. The alien bared its jagged teeth in something close to a smile. Not lie. Look at you. Hear the blood. Smell the fear. You are predator now. The hunger inside Ryan roared, as if agreeing with the creature. His stomach twisted, his mouth watering at the scent of its blood. He wanted to rip it apart, but part of him wanted to believe the words. He leaned closer, his glowing eyes burning. Why? Why would humans even have this serum if it was yours? The alien's chest rattled with a laugh, harsh and broken. Stolen. Taken long ago. Humans thought they could control it, but no human survives, no human except you. Ryan's hands shook. Stolen? His mind flashed back to the lab, to the hidden vials, to Elira's warning. She had never told him where the serum came from. She had only begged him not to use it. The alien's voice lowered, almost reverent. You are not man. You are more. The bridge. The perfect hunter. With us, you lead. With them, you kill. Ryan staggered back, the words slamming into him harder than any strike. The beast inside him thrilled at the idea. Leader of predators, the perfect hunter. A vision flashed before his eyes, himself standing over both alien and human corpses, victorious, feared by all. But another part of him recoiled in horror. He was a soldier, a protector, a human, wasn't he? His claws trembled at his sides. A sudden voice cut through the storm in his head. Ryan! Elira's voice. She ran into the street, her eyes wide as she saw him looming over the broken alien. For a moment, relief crossed her face that he was alive. Then she noticed the way he crouched, the way his claws twitched, the way his glowing eyes lingered on the alien like a wolf savoring prey. Ryan, she said carefully, stepping closer. What are you doing? He looked at her, his voice rough. It spoke. It knows the serum. Elira, it's not ours. It's theirs. We didn't make it. We stole it. Elira stopped cold, horror spreading across her face. No, you weren't supposed to know. The ground seemed to fall away beneath him. You knew? Her silence was answer enough. The alien hissed in triumph. See? Even she knew. You are ours. Ryan's hands clenched, claws digging into his palms. Betrayal burned hotter than the serum in his veins. You lied to me, he said to Elira, voice shaking with fury, her eyes filled with tears. I had to. If you knew, you'd take it anyway. And now it's too late. The alien laughed, weakly, the sound like grinding metal. Too late, already changing, already predator. Ryan roared, a sound that shook the air. In one motion, his claws ripped through the alien's throat, silencing it forever. Blood sprayed across the ground and the beast inside him howled with joy. Elira flinched at the sight covering her mouth. Ryan stood, chest heaving, staring at the corpse. His glowing eyes burned hotter than ever. It was right, he whispered. I can feel it. I'm not just fighting them, I'm becoming them. Elira stepped closer, desperate. No, you're still you. You can still fight it. He looked at her, his face twisted with conflict. Fight it? Or embrace it? What if this is what I was meant to be? What if humanity can't survive this war? Unless someone becomes worse. Then the enemy? Her voice shook. If you believe that, Ryan, then humanity is already lost. The night closed in around them, smoke rising from the ruins, silence heavy as stone. For the first time, Ryan Voss did not know if he stood as humanity's protector or its executioner. The ultimate predator. The colony no longer belonged to humans. Smoke rose from the ruins, carrying the stench of fire and blood. The streets were littered with corpses, alien and human alike. In the heart of this wasteland stood Captain Ryan Voss, his claws dripping, his glowing eyes scanning the darkness. He was no longer seen as a savior. Not by the aliens, not by the humans, not even by himself. The survivors had locked their doors against him. Soldiers who once fought under his command now raised rifles the moment they caught sight of him. They whispered a new name in terror. The Predator and the aliens. They no longer attacked blindly. They hunted him, not as prey, but as a rival. He had become a threat to both species. From a rooftop, Ryan watched a squad of human soldiers move through the streets. He could hear every whisper, every click of their rifles. Orders are clear, one muttered. If we see him, we take the shot. He's one of them now, another said. Doesn't matter if he wears our uniform. He's dangerous. The words cut deeper than any wound. Once, these men had trusted him with their lives. Now they were hunting him like a beast. Ryan's hands tightened into fists. The serum pulsed inside him, whispering to strike first, to silence them before they could betray him. His muscles tensed, but he forced himself still. Not yet. He leapt into the night, disappearing before they could see him. Later, he heard them again. Different voices, not human this time. Alien hunters crawling along broken walls, their language sharp and guttural. Yet his ears, twisted by the serum, understood enough. Kill him, one hissed. He is no human, no kin. He is false, another growled. He is strong, too strong. If he lives, he leads. If he leads, we fall. They feared him. The serum's hunger swelled at the thought. The aliens feared him. The humans hated him. He was above them both. Neither side could claim him now. He was something new, something more. But was that a curse or destiny? Illyra found him on the edge of the ruins, standing alone in the moonlight. His body was half shadow, half glow, his eyes burning like embers. You can't keep running from this, she said softly. Ryan turned, his voice rough. I'm not running. I'm surviving. Her eyes searched his face. Surviving or evolving? He looked away. They're right to fear me. The soldiers, the aliens, even you. I can feel it growing inside me, stronger every hour. The serum wasn't just meant to change me. It was meant to erase me. Illyra shook her head firmly. No. It doesn't erase you unless you let it. You still make choices. You still fight for what you believe. Ryan let out a bitter laugh. And what do I believe now? Humans want me dead. Aliens want me gone. I stand alone. Tell me, Illyra, what am I supposed to fight for? She stepped closer, her voice trembling but steady. Fight for yourself. Fight for the man you were, not the monster you fear to become. His eyes flickered, human for a moment. Then the night split with gunfire. Bullets tore through the air. Human soldiers had tracked him. Muzzle flashes lit the streets. Target spotted, one shouted. Bring him down! Ryan shoved Illyra aside as rounds sparked, against stone. He roared, the sound shaking the street. In a blur he leapt among them, claws flashing. Guns clattered to the ground as soldiers fell one by one, disarmed with terrifying speed. He didn't kill them. He could have, but he didn't. Not yet. When silence fell. The soldiers lay groaning on the ground. Their eyes burned with terror. None dared meet his gaze. Illyra's voice broke the silence. Ryan, you spared them. He wiped blood from his claws, his chest heaving. For now. But they'll keep coming. They'll never stop. Before she could answer, a deeper roar thundered through the ruins. The ground trembled. Shadows stretched. As alien figures emerged, larger than the hunters he had faced before. Their scales glistened, their eyes locked on him. One of them spoke, its voice echoing with authority. "You are not man. You are not kin. You are abomination. You must die." Dozens of them surrounded him, weapons raised. The soldiers still on the ground scrambled back, realizing they had been caught in the same trap. For the first time, humans and aliens stood on the same side, united in their fear of him. Elira whispered in horror, "They're both against you." Ryan's eyes glowed brighter, his claws sliding free, his body trembling with power. His lips curled into a grim smile. "Then let them come." The serum thundered inside him, a storm of rage and hunger. He stood taller, his shadow stretching across the ruined street. Both species wanted him gone. Both feared what he was becoming. Perhaps they were right. Perhaps he was no longer man, no longer soldier, no longer human. Perhaps he was the next step, the ultimate predator. And in that moment, with enemies closing from all sides, Rian Voss realized something chilling. He was ready to embrace it. The final choice. The ruins of the colony shook with roars and gunfire. Smoke curled into the sky as the battlefield formed around Captain Ryan Voss. Humans stood on one side, rifles raised. Aliens prowled on the other, claws gleaming in the moonlight. And in the center stood Ryan himself, half man, half predator. Glowing eyes cutting through the darkness. He was the enemy of both. Elira stood behind him, trapped between fear and hope. She knew one word from him could end everything. He could attack the soldiers. He could join the aliens. Or he could choose something else. The soldiers shouted, "Take him down before he turns on us." The aliens hissed, "Kill the abomination before he becomes king of hunters." Ryan clenched his fists, claws sliding free with a metallic sound. The serum pulsed inside him like a living thing, demanding he strike, demanding he claim his throne as predator. His heart thundered. He could feel the hunger whispering, "You are not prey. You are power. Lead them all. Hunt them all." But then another voice fought back. His own voice, faint but still alive. "I am a soldier. I am human. I swore to protect, not destroy." The two voices collided inside him as the world closed in. The first bullet flew. It grazed his shoulder, drawing sparks from skin tougher than steel. At the same time, an alien leapt from the shadows, claws slicing for his throat. Ryan moved faster than sight. He spun, ripping through the alien's chest while knocking the bullet aside with his arm. Blood sprayed across the broken street. Both sides gasped, then the chaos erupted. Humans fired. Aliens roared. The night turned into a storm of violence, and in the middle of it, Ryan unleashed himself. He tore through aliens with brutal precision, his claws slicing, his fists shattering armor. He crushed rifles with one hand, disarming soldiers without killing them, though the serum begged him to end them. Every movement was rage and restraint, beast and man clashing in every strike. The serum screamed inside him, "Kill them all. Take your place above them." Rian roared, slamming an alien to the ground. "No!" he shouted, his voice breaking through the hunger. "I am not yours." But the more he resisted, the stronger the hunger became. His vision blurred red, his mouth filled with the taste of blood. He looked at the soldiers cowering before him, and for one terrible second he wanted to lunge at them to silence their fear with claws. Then he heard Elira's voice. "Ryan, don't lose yourself. Remember who you are." Her words pierced through the storm. He saw her standing there, fragile among the monsters, unarmed yet braver than all the soldiers. Her eyes met his glowing ones, not with fear, but with faith. For a heartbeat, the beast faltered. The battle slowed in his mind. Bullets still flew. Aliens still roared. But Ryan saw only two choices before him. One, embrace the serum fully. Surrender to the predator. Become leader of the hunt. Rule through fear and blood. Humanity would fall, but he would rise as something more. 2. Fight the serum. Fight the hunger. Use its power to protect, even if it tore him apart from the inside. Remain human, even if he was the last one who believed it. The serum whispered sweetly, "You will never belong to them. You will never be human again." Elira's voice cut through. "You don't need to belong, you just need to choose." Rian closed his eyes. Then he made his choice. He opened them again, and the glow was fiercer than ever. But this time it was not the cold fire of the predator, it was the burning fury of a soldier. With a roar he launched into the aliens, tearing them apart with unstoppable force. But his strikes were not wild. They were deliberate, protective. He shielded the soldiers, pushed them behind cover, cut down any alien that came near. "Fall back," a soldier shouted. He's fighting for us." Confusion spread, but they obeyed. Rian ripped through the enemy ranks like a storm, each kill shaking the ground, each roar driving fear into alien hearts. The hunters who once mocked him now fled in terror. For the first time, predators felt like prey. The alien leader bellowed, charging with a massive blade. Rian met it head-on. Claw met steel in a clash that split the air. The two titans fought, each strike shaking rubble loose from ruined towers. "You are not man," the alien snarled. Rian's claws pierced its chest. "No," he growled, twisting, the blade aside. "I'm better." With one final strike, the alien leader collapsed. The remaining hunters scattered into the night, their roars fading into silence. The battlefield fell quiet. Smoke drifted, bodies lay still. And in the middle stood Rian, bloodied, shaking, glowing eyes dimming. The soldiers lowered their weapons slowly. None spoke. None dared approach. Elira stepped forward, her voice soft. "You chose, Rian. You fought for us." He looked at her, his face weary. "For now." Her heart ached at the words. "What do you mean?" He glanced at his hands, still, trembling with hunger. "The serum won't stop, the predator's still inside me. One day I might lose. And if that day comes," he looked at her with sorrow, "you'll have to finish what I started." Elira's eyes filled with tears. "Then I'll fight to keep you human, as long as I can." Rian turned toward the horizon, where the first light of dawn cut through the smoke. The colony was broken, but alive. Humanity had survived one more night. And yet, in his heart, he knew the battle was far from over. Because he was no longer just man, no longer just soldier, no longer just predator. He was all of them. And the world would one day have to face the final question: was Captain Rian Voss humanity's last protector, or its greatest threat?